Before you scroll away, hit that subscribe button now because what you're about to witness will make your blood run cold, your heart race, and your sense of justice ignite. Imagine walking down the street, minding your own business, when a gang fueled by hate and ignorance thinks they've found an easy target. But they have no idea who or what they are about to awaken. Chapter 1 begins with the quiet calm of a suburban neighborhood where the air smells faintly of rain and asphalt, and the sun dips low behind rows of maple trees. Jasmine Carter, a composed black woman in her early 30s, walks briskly toward her modest home after a late shift at the hospital. Her two large dogs, Titan and Echo, loyal as shadows, trot beside her, their muscular frames belying the calm demeanor she presents to the world. Unbeknownst to the casual observer, these dogs are not ordinary pets. They are retired military service dogs, trained in search and rescue, protection, and tactical operations. Jasmine, a soft-spoken yet formidable presence, is aware of the danger in her world. She has lived long enough to know that ignorance often breeds violence. As she approaches the corner where the street narrows, a black SUV rolls to a stop. Out jump four young men, their faces twisted in malice, whispering slurs and taunts as if rehearsed, unaware that every movement they make is being silently tracked by eyes far sharper than theirs. The leader, a tall, broad-shouldered man with tattoos snaking up his neck, steps forward, cracking his knuckles, certain that fear will be his ally. He shouts, jeering, mocking Jasmine's heritage, laughing as if her quiet confidence is a sign of weakness. But Jasmine, calm yet alert, halts in her tracks and raises her voice, not in fear, but in a challenge, warning them that they are making a grave mistake. Titan and Echo shift slightly, a low rumble vibrating from Echo's chest, a sound that is easily missed by the untrained ear but unmistakable to anyone who has spent years in combat situations. One of the gang members, emboldened by bravado, takes a step closer, leaning into Jasmine's space. He makes a gesture, pointing a finger at her dogs as if to intimidate. That gesture, simple and careless, triggers a sequence of movements so fast that it would later seem almost cinematic in its precision. Titan lunges first, not recklessly, but with the calculation of a soldier executing a mission. The gang freezes, caught off guard by the silent command and the intensity of the dog's presence. The leader tries to shout, tries to regain control, but Echo mirrors Titan's stance, flanking her with a precision that speaks of years in operations far from ordinary streets. Jasmine steps back, voice steady and unflinching. "You don't know what you're dealing with." The leader laughs nervously, trying to cover the crack in his bravado. But each step he takes forward is met with a subtle shift in the dog's weight. A silent message he fails to interpret: retreat now or face consequences. A car horn blares from down the street, a neighbor oblivious to the tension, and in that brief distraction, Jasmine makes a critical decision. She reaches into her pocket, not for a weapon, but for her phone, dialing 911 while maintaining eye contact with the leader. The words she speaks are calm, almost hypnotic, yet every syllable carries authority. We have an ongoing threat. 4 assailants approaching with intent to harm. They need to be stopped before this escalates. The gang, sensing their time dwindling, exchanges glances, their bravado faltering. They laugh nervously, but the laugh rings hollow, swallowed by the aura of controlled power emanating from the woman they underestimated. This is when the first twist hits, a loud snap, like a twig underfoot, and Titan's stance shifts imperceptibly, sending a surge of adrenaline into the air. The leader attempts a final taunt, stepping closer, only to have Echo place herself between him and Jasmine, her growl resonating like a low thunderclap. The gang hesitates, realizing too late that Jasmine's calm is not ignorance but strategy, that her companions are not pets but warriors with a history the street has no right to challenge. As sirens wail faintly in the distance, signaling help is coming, the gang scrambles, retreating toward their SUV in confusion and fear. Jasmine watches, unflinching, her voice cutting through the chaos. Know this, every action has consequences. Yours just arrived. The moment stretches, suspended between triumph and tension, until the first police cruiser turns the corner. Jasmine kneels briefly, checking her dogs, her touch gentle yet commanding, and for the first time in years allows herself a small, relieved smile. But in that smile, a subtle glimmer hints at what's to come. The gang underestimated her. Yes, but they had no idea the reach of her vigilance, the layers of her life that remain hidden, even now. And so, as she enters her home, locking the door behind her, the story of the day ripples outward, setting the stage for twists, secrets, and confrontations that will shake everyone involved to their core. Chapter 2 begins hours after the attack, but the tension refuses to leave the air. Jasmine sits at her kitchen table, Titan resting his massive head on her lap while Echo curls by her feet, their muscles still taut with readiness. The adrenaline hasn't fully subsided. She replays every detail in her mind. The gang's ignorance, their overconfidence, and the precise moment her dogs asserted dominance without a single human hand striking a blow. She knows instinctively that this will not be the end. The gang that approached her wasn't random. Someone out there wanted to test her, to provoke a reaction, to see if she could be intimidated. But Jasmine is no ordinary target. Years of experience in high-stakes environments, tactical operations overseas, missions where every life counted, every choice had consequences, have forged a resilience that even the most brazen street gang cannot comprehend. Her phone vibrates, a message from an unknown number flashes on the screen. "We know who you are. You won't get away with this." Jasmine doesn't flinch. Instead, she studies the message, her mind calculating the layers of threat, reading between the lines, understanding that this gang is now aware, but they have no idea of the full extent of her reach. Titan lifts his head, ears perked, sensing her tension, while Echo's tail swishes slowly, a rhythm that conveys both patience and warning. Jasmine decides on a proactive approach. Fear cannot be allowed to dictate the terms of engagement. She pulls up security footage from nearby cameras, noticing subtle details the gang thought invisible. Their vehicle, a black SUV with a partially obscured license plate, the cadence of their steps, the order in which they approached. Every detail feeds her strategy. Then comes the twist. She discovers something unexpected. One of the gang members is not a stranger at all. It is Marcus, a childhood acquaintance from her neighborhood, someone who had disappeared years ago after petty crimes escalated into darker dealings. Recognition hits her like a jolt of lightning. Why would he return now, targeting her? And why with this group, this new gang of haters motivated by racial malice? Questions swirl, but there is no time to indulge them. The gang will strike again, emboldened by their own fearlessness and the anonymity they assume they have. Jasmine calls her friend and former handler in the military, a man named Lieutenant Harris, who had trained her in advanced tactics, canine deployment, and threat neutralization. The conversation is quick, precise, and professional. "They'll test you again. Be ready. Don't underestimate their desperation," Harris warns. She thanks him, her mind racing through contingencies. Hours pass, and night falls with a heavy, almost suffocating weight. Jasmine walks her dogs once more, circling the perimeter of her property, her eyes sharp and vigilant. Then a low engine rumble from down the street alerts her. The black SUV has returned, its headlights dimmed, creeping like predators. Jasmine signals to her dogs, a silent sequence of gestures honed over years of training. Titan and Echo respond instantly, moving in tandem, each anticipating the other's movements, their coordination seamless. The gang exits the vehicle, this time more brazen, perhaps emboldened by the absence of law enforcement, believing the first encounter was a fluke. But Jasmine has adapted, setting traps and contingencies without them realizing. The first moment of chaos is subtle, a spray of gravel from a hidden motion sensor, startling the gang members and disrupting their rhythm. Titan steps forward, teeth bared but not striking, a psychological wall of power. Echo mirrors the movement, flanking the leader. The gang hesitates, confusion mixing with fear. Marcus, recognizing Jasmine's command over the dogs, falters. This hesitation proves fatal. Without warning, Jasmine lunges forward, leveraging her body weight and military-honed precision, disarming the first attacker and sending him sprawling. The dogs, trained to neutralize without unnecessary injury, circle, their presence enough to break the gang's cohesion. But then comes the twist within the twist. One of the gang members pulls a knife from his pocket, and the scene becomes dangerously volatile. Jasmine doesn't panic. She calculates the trajectory, distances, and potential outcomes within a fraction of a second. She commands Titan with a subtle hand gesture, sending the dog to block and control the attacker without lethal force. Echo intercepts the knife wielder, pinning him against a fence with expert restraint. In the chaos, Jasmine's voice rings out, commanding, firm, "Drop it, now." The leader, Marcus, freezes, seeing his companions incapacitated by a woman he once thought weak and powerless. He drops to his knees, eyes wide, a combination of fear and disbelief. Sirens wail in the distance, closer this time. Jasmine stands tall, breathing controlled but alert. She looks down at Marcus and delivers a statement as chilling as it is calm. "You've underestimated me your entire life. Today you learn that actions have consequences and ignorance can be lethal. The gang is arrested, but the story is far from over. Investigations reveal connections that trace back years, unraveling schemes and alliances that Jasmine had only suspected existed." As dawn breaks, she sits with her dogs, reflecting on the night's events. But beneath the relief lies another twist. Marcus isn't the only one who underestimated her. Somewhere in the city, someone watches, analyzing, planning, and waiting for the right moment. And Jasmine knows that this battle, though won, is just the beginning of a larger war. One that will test every skill she has, every instinct she trusts, and every bond she shares with Titan and Echo. Yet she smiles, quietly confident because, unlike those who seek to harm her, she has trained, prepared, and survived in ways they could never imagine. Chapter 3 begins several days after the failed attack, but Jasmine's life has shifted into a heightened state of vigilance. News reports mention a gang foiled in a suburban neighborhood, but the narrative omits the crucial detail. The woman they tried to attack wasn't just a civilian, she was a former tactical operative whose dogs had saved her life. Jasmine moves through her home with deliberate precision, checking locks, cameras, and even hidden entry points that most people would overlook. Titan and Echo mirror her alertness, circling the perimeter like silent guardians, their senses attuned to the faintest anomaly. While the public sees only calm composure, Jasmine knows the truth. The gang is not finished, and the attack was a test, a reconnaissance mission to measure her capabilities. That night, her phone vibrates again, a single text, simple, ominous. "We won't forget." Jasmine's pulse quickens, not from fear, but from recognition. The handwriting is metaphorical, a signature style she remembers from years past, tracing back to Marcus's older associates, the shadow network of criminals who once plagued her neighborhood. The twist here is subtle but sharp. This attack isn't about random racism, it's personal, rooted in grudges carried over decades. Flashbacks flood her mind. She remembers her childhood streets, the petty thefts, the threats, and the people she had to outsmart just to survive. Her father, a quiet man of principle, had always told her, strength isn't just muscle, it's preparation, foresight, and patience. Those lessons, combined with her military training, have shaped the woman who now walks silently through her home, planning countermeasures. Jasmine begins gathering intelligence, using a combination of technology, social networks, and discreet inquiries to map the gang's hierarchy. She learns of their leaders' obsession with reputation, their fear of exposure, and their reckless ambition. Each piece of information is a weapon, each pattern an advantage. Then comes an unexpected twist. A friend from her past, someone she hadn't spoken to in years, contacts her. Naomi, a hacker and information specialist, offers assistance. "I've been watching the pattern. They're sloppy, predictable," Naomi says over an encrypted line. Jasmine nods, even though Naomi cannot see her. "Good. We need to stay ahead. They've escalated once. They will again." Using Naomi's expertise, Jasmine uncovers that the gang plans a coordinated strike, not on her home this time, but in public, to humiliate her, to prove dominance. The target is a charity event she's attending, filled with families, media, and high-profile guests. The stakes rise exponentially. Jasmine's preparation enters a new phase. She trains with Titan and Echo, practicing subtle tactical maneuvers in confined spaces, perfecting commands that are almost invisible to ordinary observers. Every action, every movement, is calculated to neutralize threats efficiently while avoiding collateral damage. As the day of the charity arrives, Jasmine dresses in understated elegance, projecting the image of calm, grace, and vulnerability, the perfect mask. But beneath it lies a readiness that is palpable, almost electric. The event begins smoothly, laughter and music filling the hall, families mingling, unaware of the danger lingering in the shadows. Jasmine senses it first. A subtle shift in air, the faintest vibrations through the floorboards, signals her dogs pick up instantly. The gang has arrived, this time blending into the crowd. They are armed with fear and intent, confident that the public setting will immobilize Jasmine, but they miscalculate. One movement from her hand, a barely perceptible signal, and Titan and Echo spring into action, not violently, but with precision that isolates the threat. The gang is separated before they can cause real harm, their own weapons and devices rendered useless by Jasmine's foresight and preparation. The public sees only a minor commotion, confused but unharmed, as security handles the situation. The real drama unfolds elsewhere, in Jasmine's controlled maneuvers, her dog's silent precision, and the way she anticipates every move. Then comes a deeper twist. The leader of the gang, Marcus, confronts her in a secluded corridor, trying to assert dominance, trying to reclaim pride in front of the others. "You can't keep winning, Jasmine," he spits, anger and desperation etched across his face. Jasmine doesn't flinch. "I don't need to win. I need to survive, and you need to learn that some battles are already lost before they begin." Marcus lunges. Reckless, untrained against the discipline and coordination of Jasmine and her ex-military dogs. Titan intercepts him, Echo positions strategically, and Jasmine disarms him in a move that is seamless, fluid, and devastating in its efficiency. Marcus is left incapacitated, shaking with a mixture of rage and disbelief. The final twist of the chapter reveals a deeper conspiracy. Someone higher up, someone orchestrating the attacks from the shadows, contacts Marcus with the same ominous threat. Jasmine realizes the war is far from over. She has won battles, but the campaign has only just begun. As the night draws to a close, Jasmine sits quietly with Titan and Echo, reflecting on the events and the layers of danger she now faces. She smiles faintly, confident but aware that intelligence, preparation, and courage will be tested more than ever. Somewhere unseen, the architect of this chaos observes, plotting the next move, and Jasmine knows that every step she takes, every command she gives to her dogs, is part of a larger, inevitable confrontation.